This is Mike Redswiller, here with MTGOacademy.com. We're going to be playing some Pauper two-man queues with the black-white Pestilence deck. We're going first. Um, yeah, it's just okay to keep, and I will explain why. So this hand's kind of slow because, as you see, we just have lands, and it's really we're not going to be off to an aggressive start, but we have enough time to hinder most aggro strategies. So even if they do put a lot of pressure on us early, we're going to be able to get a lot of that off between playing the crossroads, getting the crossroads back with Basilica, and then the Lone Missionary. So he's probably either playing Fairies or Cloudpost. The Cloudpost matchup is absolutely brutal and near unwinnable. So we're gonna hope he's playing Fairies. Okay. We could have played Lone Missionary there, but we're kind of setting ourselves up for a daze, and we really want this to resolve, especially in the control matchups. If you checked out the article from the article from a couple weeks ago on so he's playing Cloudpost. The Lone Missionaries are one of the new additions for the control matchup. I moved them in over Oz Castigates are. I moved them in over the Aven Rift Watchers because the Aven Rift Watchers can't apply a real amount of pressure because they die in a turn or two. So at least if we resolve this now, we put a little bit of pressure on them. It's not significant at all, but it's something. And then the Castigates are also for this matchup, and the sideboard is pretty much all targeted discard effects. I'll look at that in a minute. So the reason the Cloudpost matchup is terrible is because basically what we're trying to do is set up a board situation where we can just kill off all the creatures, and that doesn't affect them in any way whatsoever. So you just kind of don't accomplish anything. Castigate here, we really want to save to try to hit the cap size. So I'm content holding this until we're pretty certain that he has one, because I mean, if we hit this, and we'll hit some kind of random spell, and it doesn't do much for us. Whereas if we hit the cap size, we take away the win condition. And Crusher is also significant, but we have answers to Crusher, but once they start capsizing, we can't race the cap size, and it just becomes a very slow game where they return the field to our hand, and then there's nothing we can do. So we'd like to avoid that. Guardian of the Guild Pack's pretty strong in this, if you can get one of them resolved. And then Pestilence just tries to act as a giant burn spell. Okay. So he's gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so he doesn't have Crusher because he could have cast it right now. So I don't know what he's. Next turn we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we have. He must just have a bunch of counter magic. That would be my guess. Prismatic Strands is also. I moved these into the main deck over the Renewed Faiths just because it's a much better card, and it also is relevant against the Rolling Thunders. Oh, that's interesting. So he's probably running Trinket Mage. I haven't seen that before, so that'll be interesting to see how that. I think we'll just hold the Wall of Hope here. The idea being that we're gonna have a turn where we're just gonna try to play everything. I'm being like we could play, and maybe he'll counter it for some reason. That's the Mole Shifter. Okay. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he can condescend for 7. We can. I think the best play here is to play the Castigate. He'll probably counter it with something, and then we can resolve the Guardian. And we could also play Wall of Hope at this time too. So I think that's the play. And we'll play the Plains down, because we could always throw Wall of Hope out there. So we'll do that. I mean, we'll throw Wall of Hope out first, because if he counters that, that'll be wonderful. Nope, wrong thing. I really don't expect this to go through. So he's gonna condescend, and then we'll switch to the next main phase and play the Guardian. And then from there, the problem with Guardian against his decks is even though he really can't answer it, once he gets Glimmerpost going, and if he Capsize is once again the real problem card, because if they have Glimmerpost and then he plays Capsize, he's going to be gaining more life than Guardian can deal, and it just becomes really problematic and nearly impossible to deal with. So we put him on a 10-turn clock, and that will be that. So this is the, as I said earlier, the Cloudpost matchup is pretty brutal just because what you're trying to do does not in any way interact with what they're trying to do, and what they try to do, which is capsize your board and play really big things, just crushes us. So, and with no way to race them really, it becomes really tough to win this. But we shall see. He has a fireball. I don't know what he has. Granted, once we draw a Pestilence here, we actually could probably start. Let's see. We have 1, 2. Yeah, we could if we resolve Pestilence, we could hit for 4, and then we could hit for 6 every turn. So that's pretty significant. But I don't see him letting us resolve it. But I think this is the one matchup where if this deck can find a way to even have like a moderately good matchup against Cloudpost, I think the value of this deck goes up significantly, because one of the advantages of it is that any creature-based deck which he's playing, this deck is pretty much, I would say, is going to be pretty heavily favored. So that lets you. The only exception being Storm. The Storm matchup is it's kind of a shot in the dark. But stuff like the Castigates and Duresses and Distresses and all those things, they become pretty useful pretty quickly. Against Storm. But what happens is you can pretty much have the whole sideboard to work with for this one particular match, because a lot of the cards that are going to be good against Cloudpost are also going to be good against Storm. Um, I think one option which I'm considering but haven't actually tried out yet is doing all the black land destruction effects that exist. So like the Rancid Earth, Icequake, and there's one more. That does the same thing. Um, what I think we're going to do here is sack this. He'll probably discard some like deep analysis. Maybe. I'm assuming. I don't know. I really don't know what he has at this point that he hasn't played anything yet. But we're gonna hit his hand. And this deck right now has a Grim Harvest Disturbed Burial package in it, but I don't feel like that's the right way to go. I think it just needs more aggressive cards. Okay, so the Black Ninja would be okay in this deck, especially if you maybe put another. You need some more early drops because I don't know. Or I'm also considering just a completely like transformational sideboard, just turn this whole thing into an aggro deck, which is not out of the question. It's just a matter of figuring out the best way of doing that. And see, the other problem with how this deck operates is it just gives him so much time to do whatever he needs to do. Because like right now he can just sit and draw cards, and that's and he just gets such an advantage from doing that. All right. But Capsize is the real like problematic card. So the other option is just boarding in a bunch of cards to deal with the Capsize. The problem then is you have to wonder if they're running the mnemonic wall to get back Capsize. Then things get tricky because discard doesn't work as often. All right. Okay. This will be a miracle if it goes through. Though we can't condescend. I don't think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we have condescend. He would need negate or prohibit or something else that I'm forgetting about. Alright, so that went through. We can't swing with him this turn, but that's okay. I'm really curious as to what he has that he hasn't. I mean, I guess it's a possibility he's just stuck on a bunch of flame slashes and stuff, and cards that have no real value right now. Promise you that all the other matchups with this deck will be much more exciting. But I think right now it's positioned fairly well because there's just so many aggressive creature strategies. Even Delver, this deck gets worse the more controlling the Delver deck is, and it gets better the more, aggressive the mono blue deck is. Just because the more controlling they are, the less relevant everything we're trying to do is. But then, once again, the sideboard comes into play. Because we're able to hate on control pretty heavily, that we have a pretty good chance against all the other decks. Because at their heart, they're still going to be playing creatures. But that's not the case with Cloudpost, and yeah, that's that. We could get a Grim Harvest or Disturb Burial here. Okay, so here he's going to try to Rolling Tumbler, and we are going to Prismatic Strand. And it'd be nice if we draw Pestilence off of this, but or a Grim Harvest to get back the Augur of Skulls, and then we can start cycling him. But once again, the problem with the Grim Harvest package is that they don't kill things that often, aside from these things, and they're going to be reluctant to do that. And it's easily counterable. So if they counter the Grim Harvest, then it just kind of sits in the graveyard because you don't have enough creatures that die often to get it back and really abuse the recursion on it. So it just sits there. So I think that might be like a wrong way of doing that. I think we'll bog here. We can get rid of the Rolling Thunder. Just in case he has Mnemonic Wall. I mean, I guess at this point, it's better for us if he uses it. Yeah, we probably should have saved the bog. Now that on second thoughts, because Capsize once again is the real problem card, and if he wants to tap out for Thunder again and try to win, that will be completely okay. Uh-oh. There's the Trinket Mage. This is kind of an oddity. A lot of decks don't run I wonder what he's doing with it. Maybe he has the equipment that lets him ping. It costs 1 to play, 3 to equip. Or he's just getting 1 lands. Alright. So maybe this matchup isn't as bad because even between the Seagate Oracles and the Trinket Mages, it's a little more creature heavy than most Cloudpost decks. Here we swing with him. I think Bog is going to be infinitely more valuable. Just so we can get rid of a Capsize. Actually, I don't. I don't know. Because the 2 life's not going to be doing much for us here, especially because we have 2 prismatic strands that we're basically sitting on. So it's better, I think, to open this up as something to do. I don't know, what do you guys hear? Uh-oh. Alright, so if he gets capsized here, things get bad really quickly. Yeah. So we should just return a swamp then. Um, yeah, because he could start. Let me see. Well, he can only play it once per turn, so that's not awful. The problem is that he can get back curse. I mean, he could get rid of the curse, and then Ulamog just tears us apart. Okay, so he casts capsize twice, and then from here we just lose more often than not. I don't see how we. We will see. Yep. Alright. That is not what we need. Oh man, okay. Guess we play the skulls. And then we can play Journey. He can respond to it by capsizing the Crusher. And can he do that? Yeah. So he can respond by doing that, or he can just get rid of Journey on the end phase. And then it comes back and swings next turn and does bad things. But we might as well do it. We also can't attack here because then he capsizes and Ulamog comes back as a blocker. Okay, so he forgot to capsize it on his end step. So we get an extra turn out of it. Um, Alright. We're just gonna. What is this? Is um. What does he? I think right here we should just. Well. Yeah, we could let that go. I want him to use this out. This way, when we aggro skulls, it hits more stuff. Because if he kept the lightning bolts and we had the strands up, he could just pitch the lightning bolts. And we still have the Wall of Hopes up. So, okay, well that was useless. So if we do get a pest, okay. He has capsize and one other card. Does he have enough to? No, he doesn't have. All right, so this is where we hope that he doesn't have anything. Keep in mind that even though we are at 4, we're gonna gain a life with each pestilence trigger on the Wall of Hopes. So we will do this. And we still have the strands if he tries to, I don't know, like firebolt us with the flashback or. Right here we have the choice. Yeah, we're just gonna keep. We'll just let that go. The consideration was to put another pestilence trigger on the stack, and then we'd kill the mole drifter. Oh, actually, it actually would have been close. Because we would have cleared the board, we would have had a guardian left, and it actually would have countered the. Oh man, that might have been a misplay. Because if we had another pestilence trigger, we could have countered the capsize because it would lose its target. We'll see what he does here. Alright, so that might have been a misplay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's actually not too much of a problem. Um, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we could actually hit him for 5 this turn, and then have enough next turn to win. That is assuming he doesn't counter the pestilence, which is a possibility. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we sacrifice the 2 planes. Or actually, we should get rid of. Yeah, we'll get rid of 2 planes. And we'll soak these things for value. We'll block that. And then we're going to gain 8 life off of this, which will put us at a high enough amount to be able to hit him with the pestilence triggers. Because if our life total is lower, if we can't kill him with pestilence, because we'll just kill ourselves first. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think because we hit him for 3, and then that's 5. That puts him at 4. So if he capsizes pestilence, we're still gonna have enough. So we're gonna do this. And then now we can attack. And I'm not sure what he has here that could beat us. Unless he's just going to try to capsize it. Because there's no way he can do 12 to us, I don't think. like, he might be flashing back. Okay, so he's going to capsize. But that is no problem. We could also kill the Crusher right now. And that should be it. Alright. So, this went a little bit better than I expected, but that's just because his deck was pretty creature heavy for a Cloudpost deck with the Seagate Oracles and the Trinket Mages. So we're gonna side it. We're gonna want all of this. And stuff that's not as good. We could have one of those as an answer to the Rolling Thunder, but aside from that, it's not very useful. I don't like the Mirror House Guard in this matchup because once you transmute for something, they're just gonna keep the counter spell up for it if they have it. I also don't think that's right for this match. Disturb Burial is okay. The problem is that when you start running these expensive spells, like this costs 5, on one hand, yeah, I think we just have to get rid of this. And also the Wall of Hopes are not very good in this matchup either. I know they saved us a lot in this past matchup, but I mean, cards that can go are the Curse of Chains and the Journeys. We don't need 7 copies of those just for Crusher. So I mean, and Curse of Chains is inherently better in this deck because it'll keep something on the field for Pestilence if you need it to. So I guess we cut those, and we can cut one of these. We're just basically keeping it around for Pestilence, because normally in the aggro matchup, it'll have a lot of value in being an early blocker, and like, against goblins, it's like insane. And with less prismatic strands, it's also less good because it doesn't give flashback anymore. So that's gonna be this. And once again, resolving Pestilence is going to be pretty effective here still, just because it's still a more creature heavy build. So yeah, with the sideboard, the goal is to just kind of strip away any threats they have. I didn't see any mnemonic walls, so that makes it a lot easier on us. We'll definitely keep this. We can... Yeah, and then next turn we can duress. He's not gonna... I mean, if he condescends the duress, it's not a problem, because we could have just hit the condescend anyway. Alright. So now we can... Actually, okay. I mean, I like holding off the rest as long as possible, just because the more cards he draws before we play it, the better it becomes. That being said, we still have 3 cards. Even so, it's also pretty effective if you just hold them for one turn. So if I try to duress, he's not gonna, especially early, he's not gonna have enough to counter duress and to castigate. And we'll see what he gets here because that'll be kind of important. Because if he puts stuff on top, it'll be more of an incentive than if he bottoms it. Okay. So he went a bottom and then a top. Okay. We don't want to run him out here because he's definitely going to have at least one piece of removal. I think the best thing here is just to play this. Well, she should draw out a piece of removal, so then that makes him a little bit better. We'll get that back because free life isn't bad. Although I mean, the other way of doing that is we could have just bounced the swamp and the next turn play guardian. Okay, so that was good because in hitting him, it's one less removal spell he has for the Augur of Skulls. Okay, so I think this turn we duress. See where he's at. Oh, okay, he's um. So we'll just play the Wall of Hope. There's no reason to castigate or play another duress here. I mean, you could castigate for a Mole Drifter, but then he just has another Mole Drifter. And we also know that he's going to have no responses to the Guardian of the Guild Pack. So that's good. Because even though one doesn't put a lot of pressure on... Okay, that was... Even though one Guardian's not going to put a lot of pressure on, hitting for 4 every turn is twice as much. So it's twice as effective. So it gets a little bit better. We'll play this. And hopefully we'll play another Mole Drifter here. Yep. Okay, so I didn't see Mana Leak. I think we're just gonna play the Guardian here. And just hope it resolves. Alright, so he F6'd. Because Guardian didn't, it resolved instantly, so we can be pretty sure that he doesn't have, he can't counter us on 2 mana. He might still have Condescend, but even so, I think he would, I think it's pretty likely he just doesn't have any type of counter magic here. And we're in a good position now to race. So we kind of luck out in this because it's a creature. It's a little more creature heavy. Oh, okay. So what he, I mean, I don't know. This is the first time I've seen the Trinket Mage package in the Cloudpost deck, but it seems pretty decent. Because Trinket Mage can fetch the Expedition maps, or it could just fix your colors. So that's kind of cool. Um, We know we still has a lightning. We could just play the Augur of Skulls here, and then we'll have we have mana up to counter it. I mean to regenerate if he bolts it or whatever. And then if he has another card, then that's not a problem either. Okay, so this is good. Um, let's see. If we Curse of Chains down a Mole Drifter, he's hitting us for 5, so he kills us in 4 turns. Well, 5 turns, but we'll assume he has some kind of trick. Otherwise, we can just leave a Guardian up and start blocking. I think at this point, we shouldn't be trying to race, because if he has burn, he'll go ahead. And if we draw a Pestilence, we can lock down things pretty nicely. I don't know. Okay, well, I don't think he has counters, so we should just try to Curse of Chains a Mole Drifter. And so now he's only going to be hitting us for 2 a turn. Alright. What's he doing? Okay. Alright, so maybe we should have... Yeah, okay, so that was my mistake. We probably should have duressed, distressed, or castigated. Especially now since he only has 2 cards. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we definitely hit this. The fact that he has another Mole Drifter is not really good for us. And I think given his deck is a little bit different than your typical Cloudpost build, which is generally more counter heavy. Even I don't know, echoing decays might be bad, because that would just be but the prismatic strands can definitely come back into play, especially since rolling it's a good card against Rolling Thunder. Let's see. All right. Don't know what that. I don't know why he's running that, but okay. So we get rid of the Condescend. At this point, we have to attack with both. If we draw Prismatic Strands, we win. anything else, and it's kind of, well, let's see, because he's gonna hit us. We will be at 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll be at 3. Oh no, he's only. All right. Well, and that's not what we need. So we're gonna lose this one, unfortunately. The mistake here was holding on to this stuff. I think we lose this one because we missed. Well, because I misplayed with the not distressing or castigating before I tried to cursive chains him. And that's it. Okay. So let's see. Given that his deck is a little bit more creature heavy, I think we can bring some stuff back in. I think um I think we can bring one of those in. For one. And I think this should be okay. Actually, or we can bring another. The Wall of Hopes aren't going to be doing much here. They're just going to be keeping us afloat, so Pestilence doesn't kill us. And it's just a question of something else is going to be more effective at that. Echoing Decay might not be bad because he's running Trinket Mages and Mole Drifters. So it could put him behind pretty far if he tries to race with one of those. But I think boarding and creature removal here might be the wrong way to go. Disturb Burial might actually be decent with the Lone Missionaries because he's pretty light on counters. So I think we'll do that because that will let us recycle the Augur of Skulls and the Lone Missionaries. Grim Harvest is a little harder to use. It's better. It's better against like goblins and decks that are going to be attacking into your creatures so you can block, whereas he's just going to be flying above them all the time. It's also good with Aven Riftwatcher, which this deck doesn't run. This hand, we have the mulligan this, I think, and this is okay. So yeah, we're gonna play this. Turn 2, we're gonna resolve the Lone Missionary. Oh, we have to play quickly too. All right, so he doesn't have. I'm playing a little quicker here because our time is so low, but I think it's very unlikely that he's some kind of counter magic here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think our other goal here now is just to resolve as many guardians as possible. Which should be 3. And if he does if he does play a crusher, we have these, and we're in a pretty good spot to raise him. Uh, okay. All right, so we should be able to beat him here in our 2 minutes that we have left. Uh, the Guardian, getting 3 Guardians that early is a pretty aggressive draw, and we lucked out a lot. I don't wanna call it before it's over, but I'll see, because then they make mistakes like that, and not Auguring of Skulls him. But we swing with all these guys. We should have swung with him too. And then we'll distress. See, he should have played that. Everybody's making mistakes, I think. What did he get? Oh, never mind. Okay. Swing with these. At this point. Alright, I think we should be okay here. Because if he just drew a Crusher, we have outs for it. And I think we win this. So, it's nice that, like, the one time I win a Cloudpost matchup is when I'm recording. Even though... Alright, so that was Cloudpost. Once again, we lucked out because the specific build of Cloudpost was a little more creature heavy, and so what we were doing was a little bit more relevant because you can't... because he was trying to get there through Mole Drifters and Trinket Mages and the Crushers. So we were able to race him a bit and interact with his board a little bit more than we would against Cloudposts that are really just trying to win on the back of a Capsize and a Mole Drifter. Those matchups are long and grindy, more so than this one was. So that was... I mean, we did get our lucky draws. So I will load up another video. Thank you for watching.